I think you can hire people who are entrepreneurial but not crazy enough to actually want to be entrepreneurs. I think, and that's one of the companies that I worked at actually was really good at that. When the company, they got bought and then they got bought again, and a bunch of people who were working there took layoff packages, and almost all of them started their own business. In fact, there's only a few people now that I worked with at this software company, and there were 60 of us who are working at a job and are not running their own thing. So there's something in the water there. But one of the things that they did really well is they hired people who had that kind of entrepreneurial spirit and then let them kind of run with their own thing. So I learned a lot about running a business at the software company, even though I was a project manager, so we were working on the software itself, but I learned a lot about the contracts and how they're structured and how the salespeople work and working with the salespeople, doing a lot of sales trips and stuff, and that was a really nice way to learn about this stuff. And I think eventually, too, that if you do hire entrepreneurial people, like eventually they are going to want to either run things, and then you need to be able to step back enough to give them some of the reins, or they're going to want to go off and start their own business, hopefully not in competition with you. And so this is where the interpersonal relationships come in, where you have enough tension that they drive you to be a better leader and a better person, but not so much that they say, well, screw you, I'm going to go off and do my own thing.
Right.
Well, here's the crazy thing is Guru is a school where we're helping develop the next generation of knowledge worker, and employers today are looking for people who are autonomous, self-motivated, responsible, and sort of come as that whole package of here's a problem, fix it, make my life easy. And they're coming out of a school system that is unfortunately somewhat archaic and isn't designed to make independent thinkers. It's designed to make people who can work well on an assembly line. And so assembly line education does not lead to independent thinking. So we have to do a little bit of detox with these people while we have them to help them discover how to be more independent. And I'm sure many of you probably while you were in school felt a little like you didn't fit in all that well because you were the one doing thinking and doing crazy things. Because you had that entrepreneurial spirit, you had something that nurtured you into that, and so that's something that we need to help build in our generation to come. And companies now are seeking employees that have that in order to survive and stay competitive. I was at an event in Banff, the Banff World Media Festival, where the CEOs of Rogers, Bell, Shaw, and I forget some other company. And one of the people in the audience stood up and said, "So what keeps you awake at night?" And the answer was the little guy. And big companies are now dealing with the fact that there are ideas and innovations and things coming from out of the blue that they cannot control. And they're big companies with employees who are assembly line thinkers, really good at doing their job, are not wired or geared up to think the way that those little guys are thinking. And that's what they need to figure out how to hire, employ, and nurture within their own corporate culture. And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
I like seeing transcripts, because if you see people's transcripts, the really good people, you should hire the ones who have like 90 in a couple classes and then like barely passing in another, and then a few of like okay classes, and they always got on their report cards needs to apply themselves. Those are the kinds of people that I want to hire, because those people were bored and they had like a couple of really good classes where, I mean, how many people got like needs to apply themselves in their report cards, right? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of you, especially programmers. They're the worst. They're like, this is boring, I already figured this out, and then they phone it in for the rest of the semester, right? You figure out just enough so you can pass, and then that's it. And I think for entrepreneurs, it's certainly one of the mindsets is that, I'm only going to apply myself to the things that I find interesting, which is why you go and do your own thing in the first place. And then you work on things that you think are going to be interesting all day, but really it's a lot of accounting and contracts and all that other. They don't tell you about that in entrepreneur school, right? All the boring crap you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But those are the kinds of people who are really successful, I find, at running their own companies, are the bored people who get bored easily.